Jules, like we said, let's get into this. And let me also make a big thank you to Scaling Spaces, a co-working space here in Kreuzberg, just across the river from Friedrichshain. See, I know my Berlin
You're so good. And your accent is amazing.
They're kindly hosting us.
They are hosting us. Thank you.
Just a word actually on Barnabas Varga. It was a scary moment.
It was.
Simply with the way Angus Gunn came out, the two collided. I think.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, completely fortuitous. It was really funny because not funny, but it is kind of funny actually. People lose their minds over replays, whether we see the replay.
Right. Yeah. On the TV, you mean, like at home?
On the television. And so what happened in this situation? Obviously it happened in real time.
Yeah.
Immediately you saw that the guy.
He was laying on the floor. Yeah.
I mean, and maybe we should point out he's been taken to the hospital. He's conscious. You know, hopefully it looks
out of danger. Yeah.
It looks like he has some fractures.
Yeah.
But he's out of danger. In real time, you don't know this. The players all go around him. Immediately they start referencing what happened with Christian Eriksen when he collapsed. Obviously that was a heart condition.
Yeah, it was different.
And then the TV kind of, and by the way, for those who still don't know, these television pictures, they are produced by, UEFA hires a company to go and produce the picture. So everybody's kind of looking at the same pictures
all around
the world. So then it goes to that super wide shot where you just see kind of like the top of the stadium, and it stays there for a while. And then they run a replay. And people in some places, like in England, people lost their minds over this. They apologized afterwards. We're sorry you had to see the replay and whatever.
Yeah, well, it could be shocking for some people maybe who watch it. No, it's maybe not the contact itself. It's when you saw him on the floor, his hand was like...
yeah, but you don't see that in the replay. All they showed in the replay was the cross, the two of them colliding. He kind of flips in the air. He obviously lands in a horrendous way. But it's not like one of those replays where, like, we've seen like the Axel Witsel tackle from years ago where the guy's leg is hanging up.
Like a leg breaker or something.
Yeah. It's not invading his privacy or whatever. You're simply showing what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel that we need to grow up a little bit about this. I don't need to see him lying on the ground afterwards. But the incident of what happened, you're here to tell the story. You're here to report what has happened. And in that moment, if you missed it in real time, you really had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Some noise off camera there. I want to actually a word on Hungary, because with this win, we don't know yet. 3 points are not guaranteed to go through.
It should be okay though.
Should be okay. How far do you think they can get in this tournament playing that way?
That's it. That's how far they would go.
Magic's gone.
I'm just a bit disappointed because we've seen them now for many years. They came into this tournament with a really good run of games without defeat, or I think it was one defeat in 16 or something like that. Really good. Szoboszlai was great. He obviously had a very good start of the season with Liverpool, not so much the second half of the season because of an injury, and then after that to get back to his best form. I thought they would defend well, and they don't defend well. Even Scotland kind of created some stuff. Not great chances, but some stuff.
Okay, but we had a Szoboszlai highlight reel moment.
Finally, but we said the other day that he's been poor so far as well.
Okay, but I thought you'd get into that.
I'm saying, if he's not good against Scotland, I would have been good against Scotland too. So,
all right, let's move on. Switzerland, again, against Germany. We'll get to Nagelsmann. We'll keep people hanging. But just on Switzerland, when you go through this team in terms of individuals, you see a lot of big names. You see a lot of players who play for important teams. Who play for Champions League caliber teams, like Bologna. There you go. That's the first
two
team
of
that
them.
comes to
Two
mind.
of the starters.
But ultimately, this is an experienced team. Jan Sommer, Akanji and Cher at the back. Obviously, Freuler and Xhaka midfield. They need some quality. You sprinkle in some Shaqiri. The one area where I am just really not convinced is up front, where
it's the goal scoring. Yeah,
you've got players who are raw, and Ndoye, nice player, but probably not yet where he wants to.
Yeah, he's not a clinical striker anyway. Neither is Mbolo.
Your
neither
friend
is Dua.
Mbolo, yeah.
Yeah, but that's their weakness. I was really impressed, to be fair, by them yesterday, in the sense that how well they were organized, how compact they were, how they just nullified completely everything Germany wanted to do. And again, this is the template if you want to cause problem to Germany, in the sense that if you force them narrow, Havertz, Gundogan, Wirtz, Kroos, Musiala, there's just no space there. They can pass the ball like you to me, a yard, but then there's not much more they can do. Once, remember, Wirtz finds Musiala kind of in behind-ish, and then there's that shot, and Gundogan can score. But that's about it in terms of spacing found. So really impressed by this organization of the Swiss. And then if they take a chance like the Endoy one, the first one, that's great. But you're right, in terms of how clinical they could be, I was really cross with Vargas, because that goal he scored, where he was offside, and he was actually not just a few millimeters, not like the Lukaku offside from the other night, it was properly offside, where it was easy for him to time his run, to wait a little bit. He had a clear view of where the defenders were, where the ball was coming from. And at that level, even if he's a young player, I just don't understand how you can get caught like that offside when you have plenty of time to just know, wait, now I can go and the ball is there, and then it's the finish. And I think that cost them the top spot in that group, because he scores, it's 2-0 and it's over, it's the 85th minute.
I think that was very evident. And that was one of two chances I think they could have had to double their lead. On the point of the strikers, given that Yakin's game plan seems to have, I have all these, I don't want to say clones of each other because they're not all identical, but I have all these fast strikers who aren't clinical.
Yeah.
What about my man Noah Okafor, who's another fast striker who's not clinical?
There's a problem with him because he hasn't played at all.
He hasn't played at all.
So there's something. Maybe he's not fit. Maybe he doesn't fancy him.
I don't know.
Because yesterday he changed the whole 3 forwards. So Rieder, Endoy and Mbolo all came off. And then Amdouni, Vargas, and a third one came on. And that was not Okafor either. So
Dua came on. No.
And Dua came on, exactly. Yeah, so them 3, no Okafor. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't know.
All right, let's turn to Germany.
Yeah.
All right, let's start at the top. So first
don't be mean. Don't be too mean.
No, I'm not mean. I said I'm Team Nagelsmann. However, all right, first of all, playing the same 11 3 games in a row. That's the first thing that I find a little bit Mac-footy, as they say, odd.
Maybe you had to win the game, or you had to not lose the game. So you can also say we want to finish top, and to finish top against the best team in this group after them.
Because you don't want to lose the game, because if you lose the game, as much as they don't like playing it, they don't want to play Italy.
But you don't want to finish second anyway.
Really good. You don't want to finish second.
No.
You don't want to end up on the other half of the draw, and for many different reasons.
Well, the half of would you rather France and England on your side or Spain and Portugal on your side? Because right now they are with Spain and Portugal on their half. Had they finished second, where Switzerland
I think France and England are a lot scarier than Spain and Portugal, with all due respect.
Okay. No, I'm just asking you the question. Yeah.
I mean, having to play Italy with all the pass and everything with it,
Croatia.
and then possible Croatia, right?
Yeah, don't take this.
I'm
one
not taking anything for
well.
granted. We're not talking about them as they play in a few hours, obviously. What surprised me though is Andre. Again, the dude's booked. For example, what's the point in playing him?
I know.
This was a Pascal Gross game, I thought.
I agree with you. I saw Pascal Gross after the game as well. He didn't seem too happy that he hadn't played. And also, more than I just thought it's a game where you expect them to have a lot of the ball. Really lot of the ball. And Andrich is not as good of a footballer technically than Pascal Gross is. And I thought in a game like that where you need something a bit special because there won't be much space, maybe Gross would have been more beneficial to this team from the start.
Or Emre Can. I mean, are we really saying the drop-off between Andrich and Emre Can is a fact? If anything, Emre Can's, I would say, better on the ball.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
So that's
it was just they were off it, to be fair. Like Kroos lost a few balls, missed passes, bad touches from all of them.
He's playing a ton of minutes again.
Yeah. And the pitch is terrible. I mean, what's going on there? That pitch is, we saw it with England the other day. Even back during the domestic season, Frankfurt had problems on that pitch. Like, you should see it. It looked like you would move and change direction, and the whole, I don't know how to say in English, but bit of it was just come off. It was so weird.
That wasn't as obvious to me on the
Yeah, no,
television.
it
I
was
have to
bad,
confess. In terms of the forwards, look, we always knew it's tough to find the right tactical balance with Wirtz, Gundogan, Musiala, and Havertz.
Yeah.
I think it can be done and it can be really, really effective, but you need to practice it, which I'm guessing is part of the reason why he hasn't changed the lineup, hoping they find their chemistry.
Yeah.
However, I would argue it's now 2 games in a row where Wirtz has contributed very little.
Yeah.
And
And come off early.
come off
First one to
early.
come off.
Obviously, Havertz, I didn't think Havertz was absolutely terrible against Hungary, but he was really poor last night. I think he really, really struggled.
Yeah, there's a couple of headers he should have done better, maybe.
Musiala up and down. Obviously, gave away the ball for the goal, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then he sends on Sané and Füllkrug, and
Quite late, actually, by the way.
that to me spoke of, doing the old coaching things like, yeah, you guys got us into it, now get us out of it.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's that late. How do you think? He doesn't strike me as somebody who's going to be reactive. There's a punditocracy comes out and says, well, Füllkrug's in good form. Yeah, I'm going to change everything now for Füllkrug. No, I don't think he's going to do that. Do you?
No, you're right.
Should
To
he?
be fair, until the goal, I thought nothing had worked for him. In the sense that the starting 11, as we said, was maybe not a right idea. The fact that he played all 4 players on the yellow and lost Tar was not a good idea. The substitutions for a long time didn't really make much sense. Okay, Schlotterbeck and Rome for Tar and Mittelstadt, maybe. But would you do that before Füllkrug? You put Maximilian Bayer on, who had not played in this tournament, before Füllkrug.
Right.
You think like, why not Füllkrug as your first option attacking wise? What Bayer? Bayer's had a really good season in the Bundesliga, but he's far too young and raw for this level. That didn't make much sense. There was a point where you had Füllkrug, Bayer, Havertz, and it was just like, it didn't look like anything. And we were where I was. We were on a platform, so slightly above, so you could see very clearly. And the Germans were attacking the goal. We were just behind the goal, and you could see it. There was just no shape, no organization, nothing. And look, in the end, the 2 subs combined for the goal because Rome crosses and Füllkrug scores. Okay, and that saved him, because otherwise we'll be far harder on Nagelsmann right now, because for a long time none of those substitutions worked at all. And I don't know, it kind of at times last night it felt a little bit like the Nagelsmann from Bayern a bit, who didn't have much of a clue what to do when he was a bit under pressure,
I don't think didn't have a clue. I think the guy always has a clue. Just sometimes
what's the clue behind Bayern?
He makes the wrong decisions. He says, well, they're not expecting Bayer.
I know,
they're expecting Füllkrug. They're preparing for Füllkrug and having another guy who can go and maybe be mobile and find space, and maybe I drop. I mean, maybe I drop Havertz.
Bayer was pointless.
I agree. It didn't work out. My concern though is if you're Germany is okay. So you've played, I'm gonna say with the greatest respect, 2 really bad teams, and then you play a better team. But again, still freaking Switzerland.
Yeah.
We're not talking Brazil 1982 here.
No.
We're talking. Would you have Switzerland top 10 in Europe? Maybe just.
Maybe just. I mean, their FIFA ranking is 19. I think that tells you where they are and where they should be, really.
And to have a performance like this where you draw, but you're outplayed for long stretches at home, in a game where, by the way, from Switzerland's perspective, I mean, they certainly didn't go into it thinking, let's beat Germany. They went into it, I'm not saying they settled for the draw, but I think some of the lineup decisions as well that he made were also about keeping it tight, having a threat of the counter.
But I think that's the right idea.
Which was the right idea.
That's the perfect plan for me. If whoever faces Germany now in the last 16, and it would be a team that finished 3rd in their group. So it could vary to maybe a good team that just finishing 3rd, an average team, and then a poor team, a bit like Hungary or Scotland, and then they will smash them. But I think this is the template. If you want to bother them, if you don't want Musiala involved too much, if you don't want Wirtz, this is the idea, and you can't maybe produce the same kind of performance that the Swiss had yesterday. But this is very much the idea.
One other thing I would like to see if I were German is you can't leave so much playmaking to Kroos. I think you need to adjust things a little bit, whether it's dropping Gundogan to help with it, because let's face it, he's just congesting space with the other guys coming inside, or Joshua Kimmich. I know you've messed with this guy's head, convinced him he's not a central midfielder anymore, and so he needs to be right back. He needs to be an up and down right back. but he could obviously do a lot more than that. Maybe he comes inside and occasionally balances out the playmaking, Kroos on the left-hand side, Kimmich on the right-hand side. Something like that, because you don't want to leave the passing to Andre. The center backs can't pass.
Yeah, I mean, he dropped Gundogan there for the last half hour last night. So Gundogan and Kroos.
But I'm saying from the start, something like that. The last half hour when you got a 50 strikers on.
You can't have Kimmich and Kroos starting in front of the back four.
No. I'm not saying he starts
from the start.
No, I'm saying he steps into midfield when they're in possession. When
So
they're in
you
possession,
play Kroos, Andrich, and then Kimmich comes inside.
yeah.
I'm not sure. You've got already Musiala. You'll have one of Musiala and
No, but comes
already on
inside.
that side.
I'm sorry, Jules. Kroos plays in line with the center backs when they're in position, right?
Yeah.
You can easily, you say, Tony, take a break from that. Let Kimmich do that on the other side. Have him more involved in the build-up than simply have him play as a fullback.
I don't know, and you need him high and wide.
Why?
For the
What?
the
For all those
diagonal.
crosses? For
No, but you saw against Scotland yesterday they didn't find the whip, and yesterday the lack of whip was a problem, both for Mr. Starr and for the right hand side Kimmich or whoever. You need that structure, Gab. You can't start having Kimmich coming inside, nobody on that right hand side. They don't have a right winger. Don't forget, it's Virtus Musiala who starts as a winger but comes inside a lot.
Well,
so
the
you
other
need
thing is,
you need
tell
somebody
them,
there.
Tell them, hey guys, produce crosses. Pretend you're Garincha
Who?
for a day. To divert to Musiala.
But they're not in the position to cross the ball anyway. That's why Fulkrug cannot start. You cannot start Fulkrug in the next game. This is not the way this team plays. This Fulkrug as an impact sub for the last half hour, 25 minutes, no problem.
Well, I don't know.
But not from the start. For me, not. And you see, I'm pretty sure Havertz will start the last 16, whoever they play, because this is not a team that plays for Fulkrug. This is not a team that plays like that.
We'll see where this goes, but one thing's pretty evident. They need to step it up.